Hi, folks. I'm Bob Schrupp, physical therapist.
Brad Heineck, physical therapist.
Together, we have the most famous physical therapists on the internet.
In our opinion, of course, Bob.
Cardio versus weightlifting. What is best for you? This is a good question.
Right.
Because a lot of people wonder, should I be, doing aerobic type stuff, or should I actually be doing some of that weight training?
Right. And it's a good question because, what are you going to do? You got to buy running shoes. You're going to go buy some weights. What's more, what are you going to do more often?
Which direction are you going to go?
Right. It's a valid question, and we're going to give you some guidance on which way to go, or maybe we'll come up with something you're not expecting.
That's right. The good and the bad, and we'll go, deal with the ugly.
Oh,
all right. By the way, if you're new to our channel, please take a second to subscribe to us. We provide videos on how to stay healthy, fit, pain-free. We upload every day. Also, go over to Facebook land. I've been using that phrase this week. And like us, Bob and Brad, because if you do, we're going to send you positive vibes
there
that
you go.
Just can't shake.
Yeah.
You're going to be in a good mood all day, and you don't know why.
Well, exactly why.
Okay.
Oops.
Wow.
Sorry, Bob.
Yeah, you're breaking our sign.
I know it. I'll fix it. Okay. Cardio versus weightlifting. For me, when I started getting exercise about 25 years ago, it was pretty easy for me to decide because I didn't like running, I didn't like biking, I didn't like that boring stuff, and I didn't like weightlifting, so I got into karate.
Sure, which is almost a little bit of both.
It is,
yeah.
But it's something I really enjoyed, which is a key part. You need to do something you enjoy, and if you don't know what you like to enjoy, cardio or weightlifting, here's a little education, and it'll help you decide. For example, cardio, which is an aerobic activity, you get your heart rate up, typically to 50% or more. If you don't know that, you divide a really basic way to calculate that. 220 minus your age, and then take that number, divide it by 2, and that's where your heart rate needs to be. But even if you don't want to do that,
it can be higher, but
right.
You want to try to get to that point
right.
to at least get some minimal benefits.
I'm probably turning people off already to cardio because they don't want to do that. You don't have to. If you can exercise and still talk to someone next to you, but it's a little bit challenging, your probably heart rate is up to that aerobic level.
Yeah. So for some people, that might just be walking.
A brisk walk can certainly be.
And they have trouble, they can talk, but they're starting to get to the point where they may have a little difficulty. Right.
You're there, and that's all you really need to do if we're talking to beginner people who are, just toying around with this. So other options are, typically biking, running, swimming. If you have an elliptical machine, a lot of the machines at the fitness centers are strictly for cardio or aerobic exercise. Then you got the weightlifting machines or the open weights. You can use stretch bands as well, which are becoming very popular, as we both know.
Yeah, we both.
If you're going to do weightlifting, it should be 3 to 5 times per week, minimum of 3 days, but should be more like 5 days per week. Aerobic, according to American Heart Association, you need 150 minutes in per week. 3 days a week minimum. Again,
so that'd be either 50 minutes, 3 days, or if you do 5 days, you have to do 30 minutes a day. So you break it up. You figure out how it works in your life.
There you go. But 1 day a week either isn't going to do much.
So what some people do if they do both, it would maybe do aerobic 3 days and lift weights 3 days, and take 1 day off.
Right. Repetitions in weightlifting, if you want to get larger mass and get strong like bull and look like that, you're going to need heavier weights, lower repetitions, typically 4 to 12.
We know this is basic stuff, but we don't know what you know and what you don't know.
Right.
But I remember that years ago, Brad, when I was weightlifting in college, and I'd see these big guys, and they'd go up and do like 4 or 5 reps. That's all they did. And they were huge.
Sure.
I mean, it was just amazing.
And that's a different, those people are experienced. They have a specific goal, probably athletic, maybe they're bodybuilders. But for the average person, if you want to increase your heart rate a little bit, do more maintenance, toning, endurance, then it's 15 to 20 repetitions with the weights.
I think the other thing you want to be careful on weightlifting, Brad, is, and I see many rookies do this, is that they're working the same body part just different ways, and they'll do like 5 different exercises, and they're all working the tricep.
Sure.
I mean, you don't need to do 5 different exercises for the tricep.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You've seen that, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of if you different information. Get a trainer to help you out for a few visits one way or
Right.
another, just to get on the right track. To
It's
keep yourself
worthwhile
straight.
because I mean, you're going to head down this path and you're just going to overtrain one muscle and then not work muscles that you should be working.
Sure.
And then you might burn out because
Right.
you're doing too much.
I think the best thing to do is watch our videos. We'll help you
Sure.
out. Just Google Bob and Brad. But I didn't want to put that. I did really want to put that
Yeah,
in.
you did, I know.
This is the big thing right here. I think the big difference on your goals, and it was for me anyways, cardiovascular or aerobic workout is going to increase the volume and the health of your heart.
Right.
If you've got a history like I do, my dad and my dad's brothers and my grandfather all had heart problems. So I'm thinking that's a major risk factor for me
Exactly.
for heart problems. So I wanted to get my aerobic activity up so that my collateral circulation, which makes my heart stronger and less vulnerable to a heart attack, I wanted to increase that. The only way you're going to do that is through aerobic exercise.
And we talked
Weightlifting.
about even with, it's going to increase the circulation in legs too.
Sure.
I mean,
right.
you'll see a lot of times people, especially as they get older and they have heart disease and stuff, they also get what we call claudication in their legs. They get pain in their legs because they're not getting enough blood in their legs either. So,
Which my father and my uncle also
Yeah.
had.
so if you get clots, if you get, you get a lack of blood flow here, usually there's a sign there's a lack of blood
Right.
flow here. And
Your
it
whole-
also could be a lack of blood flow up here for
Yeah.
a stroke.
Yeah, your whole body typically clogs up. So that's a big one. If you're concerned about that, you really want to emphasize aerobic for
You
that
got a medical history
cardiovascular.
of it. You want to take it very serious.
Right. Weightlifting, you're not going to get those benefits, but you are going to get stronger. You're going to have less chance for injury in general.
I think it's definitely going to help with weight loss too.
Sure,
I mean,
right.
if you lift weights, you may gain muscle, which could increase your weight, but you're going to lose fat.
Right.
Overall.
And then they also have, there's argument with weightlifters that because of that, you have less cholesterol in your system. So it is better for your heart. So it's not that it doesn't give you any benefits for your heart, but cardiovascular, as I was talking about with the aerobic exercise benefits. Bone density, as we get older, people, particularly women, have this more than men. I don't want to get into the reasons for that, but you'll just have to believe us or watch one of our other videos. But bone density when you get 50 and older,
It's a big issue, and if you're walking and taking weight through the bone, the bone responds. It's called Wolff's Law. We studied this as students. The more weight you put through the bone, the more the bone reacts and actually thickens and strengthens.
Sure.
So
if your numbers for your osteopenia or osteoporosis, if you're concerned about those particular diagnoses, either one of these are going to help you, except for aerobic if you're a swimmer.
Right.
That may not do so much for the
I would
bone
even say
density.
biking would probably be as
Probably
good,
not so
as
much.
good.
Not so much.
But
right.
but definitely with weightlifting, you're working the bones that are up in here. Getting some weight through the
Right.
resistance through them.
And plus,
too.
you're also standing.
Yeah.
There's, big thing with that is you want to keep moving, and if you're doing weight-bearing exercises, higher intensity, the muscles and the bones are going to respond to that in a positive way. Stress, improved mood, just making life
without a
better.
doubt. Yeah,
Both of them,
are
people
really good for that.
Yep. You go out and you lift weights, and you just you feel better when you're done. You know.
Yeah. I mean, it gets the natural endorphins
Right.
going. I get that runner's high.
I definitely
walker's
feel
high.
better after I do aerobic than I lift. But either way, that's good for me.
Yeah.
And that's a personal
I agree
thing.
too. I definitely get more of the uplift from running and
Sure.
stuff like that.
You better
So.
believe it. Anything outside for me is better than inside. That's just
Yeah,
my
I agree. This
personality.
morning I had to run indoors because of the rain.
Yeah.
And I just hate it. I just
Yeah.
don't like it at all.
Yeah.
Uh,
You can tell we're just a little lower
Yeah, we're
today. 'cause
crabby
it's-
today
yeah. As far as injuries, anytime you're exercising, no matter what you're doing, there is a risk of some kind of injury. Just be careful. Overuse injury is common with aerobic exercises. Runners, you can get tendonitis, the calf
But
muscles.
that's why it's good to mix it up.
Sure.
That's why it's good not to just maybe do biking or running. Maybe do running one day and biking another day.
Right, cross training.
Cross training, very
You better
important. That's
believe
where
it.
the swimming is nice too.
Right.
It really gives you the body parts, chance to rest.
Right.
So
I think the big thing with weightlifting, Bob and I talk about this in a lot of videos. I work out at the fitness center, the YMCA, and I see a lot of people lifting with poor body mechanics, and I just think that person's back can take that now when they're 25, but if he or she keeps lifting that way in 10 more years, they're probably going to have a herniated disc.
Back, shoulders, knees, everything, you can put those really at risk with poor lifting form.
So learn how to use good body mechanics if you're going to go the resistance route. If you're going to do both, which Bob and I actually recommend, eventually do a little bit of both because they can really improve your health overall.
Yeah, getting back to the title, absolutely. We recommend that you try to include both in your life, even if it's minimal. I lift weights kind of in a weird way. I do one body part a night.
Really?
That's all I do. I mean, when I'm doing, I do different types of things, I should say.
No, you don't have to get into it, Bob. We understand.
When I use the actual like pull-ups, I'll just do pull-ups, like once or twice a week.
Sure.
And I don't do anything else that day. But I always do some of my band posture stuff.
Sure, right. And then you throw some aerobic in.
And I throw some aerobic in.
Right.
So I do a lot.
It's kind of like a recipe exercises after a while. It gets to be fun. People get together and talk about recipes.
Yeah.
Fitness people get together and talk about,
workouts.
write it down on a piece of paper.
It could be a weird group.
That's the geeks.
Yep, that's the ones that, if they have the charts and everything.
Yeah, be careful for those ones.
Yeah, stay away. All right.
All
Thanks
right,
everybody
very
for
good.
watching.
And stay healthy.